Hello, Msonda Mulundu Chipampata is my name, and I've been making many videos in the past about my condition, which was bipolar, which I was diagnosed with. And the whole point of my videos has been for me to find a way to heal. And I'm happy to report that in a space of 1 month, I've been able to heal. I was 2 days ago, I had a hectic relapse of which I was able to endure, and I did a video blog explaining whilst I was actually in the same state, which is psychosis. So the reason for this video is I just wanted to basically have an inventory of my whole experience with bipolar until its end. My first encounter with bipolar was in 1999, and this happened in Austin, Texas. It started when I went into church, and it stemmed all the way up until just a month ago, 2 days ago basically. And the reason I'm saying that I'm healed is I've been off my meds for the past 7 days, because I keep, in my history of taking the medication, I always get on and off. But now we have, we as bipolar patients, basically, we have a certain way in which we look when we are under the I can say influence of or psychosis, which is like the actual term that I can relate it to. Then we when we're going through this, we hallucinate, we go through all kinds of things. But for the first time, I was able to endure, and whatever it is that was bothering me has now basically stopped. So I just wanted to basically offer some kind of help to other people as well, because now that I know that it's possible to heal, I just want to offer help for other people as well, because this thing has bothered me for a very long time, and in the process I've even tried to commit suicide, failed attempt by an accident that I had. So I just want to offer hope to those other people out there that are suffering from bipolar, those who don't know yet, especially that I'm based in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I think very few people are aware that this bipolar thing can actually be defeated without medication. I always felt uncomfortable taking pills for the rest of my life. I just naturally did. But again, I was very, very ignorant of what alternative there was, you see. So what would happen to me basically is I would go into that same state of psychosis, of which it might appear like it's insanity to the mainstream people, right? But now I understand better. I know that it's just me going deep into my soul or into my subconscious, which is something that we as humans are not used to. So when we're in that state, especially if you've had issues in your past, you're going to confront those issues. You see, I've discovered through my research that other people, in order for them to access their soul, or for them to go into that state of unconsciousness, like it's not like sleep or dreaming, it's deeper than that. They need to take some plant medicine. There's magic mushrooms that you can take, which I've also experienced, but it's a bit of a different experience as well. Or you can also take ayahuasca, which is something that's being very quite commonly used these days, though none of those drugs are legal, right? But then in the South America, you can acquire them. There the shamans use them for their healing processes. However, for me, who was a bipolar, because now I don't consider myself bipolar anymore, um, we delve into the subconscious without any aid. We don't need to take anything in order for us to go in there. We just do. And I did it, and I confronted all my fears, basically. And I'm safe. I'm happy to say that I'm healed. So now, like I said, I just want to use this as an opportunity as well to speak to those going through the exact same thing and trying to pull them out of whatever they're going through, because it's a very confusing experience. And that's why people may look at you as crazy, because imagine you going into a world that you've never gone into before. Imagine seeing things that you've never seen before. It's scary. So how does a scared person react? I mean, if you're watching a horror movie, okay, and people are watching you watch that horror movie and it's scaring you, okay, you're going to look crazy, you see. So, this thing of people labeling others as insane or things like that is really because they're ignorant. They don't know what the so-called insane person is going through. They don't know what they're seeing, you see. But then our minds are so powerful, and it's not easy for anybody to get out of the situation they are. The easier way is obviously to be put on medication. Then everything is blocked, you see. But even those, I've got so many people that I know that I've been in hospital with that are still on medication, yet they're still suffering from the same thing. So it goes beyond medication. Unfortunately, psychiatrists are not helping. They're not helping us the way they're supposed to. You see, they're supposed to explain deeper. They just say, "Oh, you're bipolar." No, then they start scribbling. Next thing, they're giving you medication, or take your medications for the rest of your life. No, no, no. It's not like that at all. And I'm glad. Naturally, I've always fought this phenomenon. I've always felt uncomfortable because I know myself well enough. I say, you know what? As much as I've been in that state, I didn't understand how I got in that state in the beginning. But because I had convinced myself that the only thing that was happening to me was insanity, I kind of felt ashamed to talk about it. But now I realize that as humans, we've got more in us than we realize. The thing is, when we're raised to think in a certain way. We're not exposed to a lot more. So it becomes very difficult for us to accept or to believe certain things. But then, my challenge is, I wish the world would just legalize things like mushrooms or all these natural psychedelic drugs. Then if you give people those drugs, those who don't experience what you experience, they'll be able to see. Then they'll be able to understand, to say, "Oh, is that what's going on? Is there like another world out there?" Basically, that's what it is, because all those things that seem like are just not real come real. You see, your dreams come alive, basically. And it's not an easy experience for you the first time, and if you're not a stable person, you flip, and you literally need to be hospitalized after that, but imagine if you can go into that state without taking anything. You're just naturally like that, like what happened with me. I've explained it in so many ways, but I'm beginning to realize that I never took any substance in the beginning. The diagnosis of it, most of the people say that no, maybe those people who are on marijuana or have taken some kind of drug are the ones that go into it. But I've never, ever, like in the beginning, I never took anything whatsoever. I just used to go into that state. And even this last time, well, the reason I went into a relapse was because I'd taken myself off the meds. But this time around, I said to myself, I want the relapse, because the relapse is what's going to heal me. And it only took, initially, it took about 30 minutes of me being in that state. I calmed myself down. Then later on, I went to bed, and it must have taken 2 to 3 hours of just battling with the same condition on my own without any medication. Before, I wouldn't be able to handle it, and I'd always ask to be taken to the hospital. But for the very first time, I actually dealt with it face to face. And for those of you who don't understand what I mean by face it, is you basically get you get attacked. You know, the Christians will call it. It's like you get demon possessed, or you have like surges of fits and things like that's what they will basically look at it as. But for me now, it's very simplified. You see, it's just got to do with my past pain. You see, and I'm the type of person who's very curious and who wants to get to the bottom of everything that I experience. So what happened in my case is I just confronted my past, and I looked at all the painful things that I'd gone through, and those things came back to me. So I was literally reliving what I had gone through in the past, and it was a painful thing. So it manifests itself in a way that is intense and very, very, I don't know how I can put it. Your body reacts to it basically, if you've been through what I've been through. So basically what happens is all the structures, all the pain, all the problems that I've ever had come to me at one go, and then my body reacts. You see? Now, before, when that happened, I would hallucinate, because then I would start imagining all the worst things ever. So when that explosion happens in my mind, my mind is extremely powerful, like everybody else's. I'm no different from anybody else. The only difference is I've just figured a way to beat it now. So anyway, my mind would go basically haywire, and I'll start imagining all sorts of things that I've obviously been exposed to since I was young. And after that, it would get so intense now, because there's so much confusion in my mind, because uh, I'm confronting my pain at the same time. I'm confronting my past. My mind is also going, making all sorts of images, and I'm beginning to believe that I'm seeing things, and all that is just the creation of my own mind. So, it's been for me quite an interesting journey. And I was so ignorant for a long time, but I was curious, because I know myself too well. So I was curious to say, no, there has to be a way to beat this thing, but I had no information. But then that's why I'm glad and grateful for my brother, who told me, research, do your research, read up, do this and that. But at the time, I was like, I couldn't really bring myself to doing that, because I didn't think there were answers out there. And I'm so glad that the internet is the way that it is, and we can go out and find resources and other people who've gone through similar. I thought I was isolated in this situation. Little did I know, so many people have experienced exactly what I've experienced. There's even movies about it and things like that. And it sounds like a fairy tale, I know, but I'm so glad that, it's finally over for me. And it's been a 17-year stretch of a lot of pain, a lot of confusion for me. I had to leave my school, college. I didn't finish it, all because of the same thing. I've left jobs, all because of this thing. I've broken up my life basically because of this. I've made bad decisions and all that stuff. And now that I'm age 40 is when I've actually put the pieces together. I'm glad it happened in this lifetime, because at least now, even if I was going to go, I'd go peacefully. And those of us who experience these supernatural things are able to even have an idea how it is to go into death. I believe now that when you're going into death, and you haven't sorted out or made peace with yourself, you're going to find yourself, your death is going to be painful, basically. That's why now I understand when people are dying, there's certain people on their hospital bed, they start saying all sorts of things that don't make sense. Then they like, then people will be like, did you notice when you was dying the things you were saying? You started saying all sorts of crazy things. I've been there. I've experienced how it is to start seeing your subconscious. And that's what happens to people that are dying. They just go into a state that they've never experienced before. And thereafter, I don't know what happens, but I've got a great idea now how it feels to die. And I'm glad that I've made peace with that now, because I know my death is going to be very quiet and peaceful, because I've already seen the worst of it. So I think when Christianity talks about judgment, judgment is simply you confronting all the worst things that you've ever been through and experienced in your life uh, just before you die. That's what I think judgment is. It's nothing like somebody judging you as per se. No, I don't believe that anymore. That's just the Christian myth that they've put in the Bible that's just supposed to scare people and control them, you see. So this to me is awesome, because for the first time in my life, I've been able to put the pieces of my life together, you see, and I'm beginning to realize that we we are all connected in some way or the other, you see. And that's why this information is not to keep to yourself, it's to share. People must hear about this, people must know about it, people must understand, and people must appreciate. It's all there for us, each and every one of us. But with I'm not the most educated person out there. I haven't really paid attention to schooling and all that stuff. I don't find it difficult. I just don't do it. I've just been that way. I'd rather figure things out than be taught things. But when I am taught certain things that interest me, I catch on very quickly. So that's just how I've always been. So I just basically wanted to make this video, because I've made so many videos in so many different states and so much confusion. But I wanted to put a video together that kind of like just speaks about the conclusion of my quest, especially that when you're going through life and you don't understand certain things, you might say the wrong things here and there, and people might take you the wrong way and things like that. But I mean, I want to say that now, medicine free, I'm able to speak the way that I'm speaking right now. I have no fear of a relapse, and I'm glad that I don't have fear, basically, because I've confronted the worst of my fears. All the violent thoughts that I've ever had, I've already confronted, and now I can move on to a peaceful place in my life and just live peacefully, because as humans we are very, very peaceful people. We're supposed to be peaceful. The evil that we have is just brought into our lives by other entities and other human beings that are confused themselves. That's why when they call people that go through schizophrenia or bipolar, and they say that these people are crazy, no, they're actually not. They're just experiencing something that those normal people, those so-called normal people who don't even understand, haven't experienced before. So yes, we might appear to look crazy when we're going through that experience, but you try it. You try to go into your subconscious unprepared, especially when you've had a lot of issues your whole life. Confront all your worst fears all at once and tell me how you look. We'll take a video of you. You'll see how it will be. It's not pleasant. It's not easy. And it's taken me 17 years for me to figure this out. But I'm glad it's finally over. And the beauty about it is, I went through the experience first time in 1999. It was shocking. Okay, I didn't know exactly what to do. Obviously, I was put on meds, kept the meds for a bit, stopped them. Came back 2000, somewhere in 2000. I had maybe about 2 more relapses. Again, I didn't know what to do. Hospitalized, put on medication. Again, I stopped. 2001, had another relapse. No, sorry, in 2000 I didn't even have a relapse. I had the relapse in 2001. Yeah, I had the relapse in 2001. Then again, took meds for a while, stopped again. I always used to stop my meds. That's one thing I'll put on the record. Anyway, so then from 2001, I was okay. I had stopped going to church and all that stuff until I started again in 2010, started going to church. And then certain events happened in my life here and there, which I won't dwell into right now. But basically in 2014 is when I had another relapse. You see, again, I still hadn't learned because I didn't do my research all these years. I had just been questioning myself, but what happened to me? What happened to me? I didn't know. I had no clue. Anyway, 2014 passed, and recently, I'm talking about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I had another relapse. Okay, and then 2 days ago, I stopped. I stopped my meds a week ago. 2 days ago, I had another relapse, and for the first time, because now I was educated, I knew exactly how to handle it, and I faced it. I said, you know what, this relapse is going to come and go. And guess what? It came and went. And this is day 7, and I'm feeling better and better every single day that I go by. I've just been having a migraine for the past 3 days, but I think that is some kind of withdrawal symptoms from the medication because the medication is strong. And since I've only stopped 7 days and I took it for about 2 months or 3 months, I just stopped cold turkey. Uh, I didn't I didn't like taper it down like you advised, but I just said to myself, I'll deal with the consequences. And yeah, the consequences were that I had a relapse in 5 days of me stopping. And I dealt with it. It was harsh, it was very strong, but I knew in order for me to survive, in order for me to have my life back, because you see, when you're on meds, you don't own your life. You're a zombie. You sleep when the meds tell you to sleep. You think when the meds tell you to think. In fact, you don't even think at all. You just become dumb. When people talk to you, it's like you're not there. You're just a zombie. You know, your eyes are just, I don't even know how I can put it. But basically, it's just something that's wrong. It's, you don't do that to another human being. I don't blame the psychiatrist. There's I mean, I've been in a situation where I've been so helpless that I didn't know what to do. But the thing is, there's alternatives. There's information out there which the psychiatrists know about, but they're ignoring it. Why? Because obviously they have to keep, I don't know, the pharmaceuticals have to keep selling their drugs. They have to keep business going. But I'm not going to be a guinea pig. I'd rather take control of my own life and face the consequences the hard way. People do challenges. People achieve. The achievers in this world, the people that have succeeded, have gone beyond the boundaries. They're not people that have been cowards. You see, if you're a coward in life, all you'll ever do is just be there at the bottom. But the time when you decide to take on challenges and just be free of certain things is the time that you will see through things. So this is why I always took it upon myself to say, I'm going to one day understand what it is that's been going on. And yes, look, I've come up with all sorts of explanations, and the explanations are to do with my imagination, which we all have a great imagination, by the way. But one thing you have to understand is when it all comes down to it, it's very, very simple. It's extremely, really simple, It's got to do a lot with the unknown. And I'm still researching. I'm not trying to call myself any expert at anything. No, I wouldn't say that. But all I'm basically saying is the stage that I've reached now is I had to take this personally. I had to find healing. And I'm just glad that, it has happened the way it has happened. So basically, I just wanted to make a video, though now it's seeming to be a bit long, just to say that there is hope for those that don't have hope. Even if, let's say, a family member of yours is suffering from schizophrenia or bipolar, You, the family, have to be supportive. I'm lucky to have a brother who was understanding because he knows me very well. He's like, but look, I know you go into that state, but I know you. I knew you from the time you were young. Something must have gone wrong somewhere, somehow. You see? And even now, when I'm recording this, I might not even have the accurate information. I might not even have the right diagnosis of myself. But eventually, with time, I'll figure it out. But right now, as I'm thinking, from the experience 2 days ago, all I can say is pain from my past. And I'm okay now. But again, the family, I blame the families as well a lot. Families are not supportive. Immediately, there's a crisis in the family, and one of the siblings or one of the children goes through something like this. They all just assume the person's insane, and they all just turn their backs. Oh, he's mad. That's it. Put him on medication. Very bad. Friends as well. Society. Everyone, or every one of you, you don't know how to treat people that go through things like this. But I'm telling you that I've gone through it, and I've fought it, and I've won. And thanks to a supportive brother who understood. My sister and my mom were confused. They didn't understand. Being Christian, they probably just thought I was demon possessed, or somebody had done witchcraft on me, or something like that. I don't know what they thought, but it's too scary for them to dwell into. But for the most part, I've been like this. I've been normal, you see. It's just once in a while I get these attacks. Now I understand it was an attack, and trust me, it took me about 4 hours in total 2 days ago for me to literally get out of it. But I'm out of it. I figured out now how to get out of it. And I want to impart this gift onto somebody else that's going through it, who you might consider insane. So it has to be a collective. It has to be family, and also the person or people that are involved or experiencing the same thing. It requires no hectic knowledge. It's very, very simple. Once you figure it out, you'll be amazed, how easy it is for you to snap out of it. You don't need any lifetime medications or anything like that. You can just be healed. And I'm proud to say that I'm free, basically. And it's taken me 17 years, about maybe 3 different countries. Like I said before, I've gone through different relationships, broken up with people, messed up jobs, messed up school, messed up opportunities, broken up with friends, things like that. But I didn't know what was going on with me at the time, yet here I am, So I'm happy to report, though, that I'm where I need to be now. For the first time, it came to me, and I struggled. In the Bible, for the Christians, because I was a Christian for a big part of my life, you can say it's when Jacob was fighting with the angel. So yeah, I had that experience where I was fighting with the angel, fighting with God, or Jesus. Where Jacob was basically holding on to the angel because he wanted his blessing. You see, you can, if you want to put it in that context as a Christian, you can. But I've since evolved from that way of thinking, because religion is so restrictive, and it's actually messed up my life so much, because I was thinking too much in my Christian way. It restricted me from freedom. And I've done this outside of religion. I've done this inside my own mind. I had to understand certain things, because if I thought I was demon possessed, it was too scary for me to endure. So I had to simplify the experience so that the result would be simple. So here I am, meds free. I'll always be available for people to consult with and to help. I want to get as many people off bipolar as possible. I actually had a goal by the end of 2017 to get off bipolar, but I've managed to achieve it in a period of 1 month here in 2016, and today the date is 30th of July 2016, and I'm proud to say this has been a record, so I have been able to heal in a shorter space of time. So basically, that's all I had to say. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.